Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is JoBros. In this tier list, I'm going to be ranking my favorite to least favorite JoBros from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Baron or William Zeppeli? This is a tough one. Because even though he had a little screen time due to, the episodes being so short, I'm gonna go ahead and put him as Manamana. Because when he first appears on screen, he strikes Jonathan in the stomach and the solar plexus with his pinky and he heals him. And right before he dies, he reaches out and gives Jonathan the most amazing high five. And he gives him a power up to the point where he breaks these unbreakable chains. And it also helps him in the battle against Dio. He made an honorable sacrifice and he gave Jonathan the boost that he needed. Speedwagon. Okay, we gotta put Speedwagon at Manamana. We're talking about a guy, and this is just my theory, I think he truly loved Jonathan, more than a friend. I think the reason why he never married or never settled down is because he really loved Jonathan. And honestly, you can see that from Speedwagon. From the many years he started the Speedwagon Foundation, he looked after Joseph, and he made sure that no matter what, that the Joestar bloodline family was going to be helped out, supported through many years to come. He started off as this alleyway thug, robbing anybody who goes through, but then he had a change of heart. He started helping out JoJo, started helping out Jonathan. He helped out Joseph. He introduced Caesar Zeppeli. So Speedwagon is definitely Manamana. He's the main JoBro. I don't think Joseph would be where he's at if it wasn't for Speedwagon. I don't think Jotaro would be where he was at if it wasn't for the Speedwagon Foundation. You can't help but love the guy since he called Dio on his bullshit when he was trying to apologize to Jonathan. But yeah, Caesar fucking Zeppeli, dude. I'm being biased here, but he's Manamana. We're talking about a guy who was hot-headed at first. Him and Joseph came to blows. Eventually, they trained hard together. They found this mutual respect for one another. Even towards the end, when they were literally punching and kicking the shit out of each other. His death was so fucking impactful. Before he died, not only did he take the lip ring off Wamu for the antidote for Joseph, but he used the last of his Hamon and put that ring along with his bandana in a little Hamon bubble. His signature attack was bubbles. Yes, I know. For anybody who hasn't seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, I know it's gonna sound corny, but he attacked his opponents with bubbles. And with these bubbles, if they hit you, you get a radiation blast of Hamon, which is basically electricity and the most microwavable high heat that you're ever gonna feel. He put it in a blood bubble for Joseph to have. And right after he did this, a giant cross made from brick and stone fell on top of this man and crushed him to death. It was so fucking emotional. Thinking about it right now is bringing me to the brink of tears. But Caesar fucking Zeppeli, dude. Just like his grandfather before him, he made the ultimate sacrifice, and he gave JoJo, or Joseph, that extra kick he needed to defeat the Pillarman. Rest in peace, Caesar. Mohammed Avdol. I'm gonna go ahead and put him as great. The reason why I put him as great is because I actually like Avdol. I think his character design is really well done. He's got one of the coolest stands in the show. He's Joseph's friend. He's Joseph's best friend, dare I say. They had the funniest episodes together when they were going against Bastet or Mariah. Whenever Avdol and Joseph were together, it was always a treat. It was like Will Smith and Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You know what I mean? When those two are together, you know something funny is gonna happen. You know what I mean? So Mohammed Avdol gets slept on a lot because, he was the first black guy to get killed twice in the anime. Dude, I don't care about that. He was so good in the show. Japanese voice actor and English dub voice actor. There's a truck behind me picking up trash, I'm sorry. And he was the first person in the show to actually fully manifest his stand. So in a way, he kind of was the first person to present a stand in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So that's what makes him great. I'm sorry, but Kakuing is fucking dog water to me. I don't care what anybody says. The only reason this motherfucker was even along for the ride is because if he was successful in helping Jotaro, Joseph, and everybody else kill Dio, he was only in it for Jotaro's mom. And I know it's been memed to death. I know it's been here and there, like, oh, Kankyoin is the MILF Slayer and this and that. But I genuinely did not give a fuck that he died. Now, when I saw Joseph's reaction when he died, it kind of made me go, oh my god, like, he died. But it's just like, bro, like, what purpose did he serve? He was just another mouth to feed, you know what I mean? Him and Jotaro weren't really, like, that close compared to, like, Polnareff. Oh, I missed Stroheim. So Stroheim was actually good. And hear me out. Even Stroheim became a respectable JoBro. And not only did this crazy motherfucker take on cars by himself, and the Pillarman, not like an actual motor vehicle, but for a split second, he gave one of the Pillarmen a run for his money. He was able to rip off a piece of his flesh, and he was able to, like, hold his own. But he was totally outmatched against cars. And this dude literally blew himself up with a frag grenade because the Pillarman was inside of his body. This man is crazy as shit. Out of all of the fucking Germans who were like going to war and this and that, he was the only one who was like, hey, that's Joseph. He's cool. Let him pass. Fucking Stroheim. I wonder what he would have been like if he stuck around for Stardust Crusaders. I wonder what it would have been like. Speaking of Stardust Crusaders, Polnareff, dude. I want to say Polnareff is a notch above Avdol. I feel like putting him in great is great. You know what I mean? Polnareff was like Kakyoin. He was under the control of Dio. And once they ripped that flesh bud out of him, which was controlling him, he became one of the coolest JoBros. I actually liked Polnareff more than I like Kakyoin, because Polnareff was goofy, he was funny, he was clumsy, yeah, he was like the Goofy from Disney. He was lovable, he cared about his sister, he wanted to get revenge on the murderer, the guy who killed his sister, and he did. And even after he got his revenge, he could have easily just went home, but no, he chose to stand by Jotaro because he knew that Dio was responsible for his sister's death. And even after, like, the events of part 3, he stuck around and he started working with Jotaro, alongside Jotaro, for the Speedwagon Foundation. If that doesn't give anybody the impression that he's a true JoBro, then you and I are watching two different shows. I think he's better than Kakyoin. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. Oh, we gotta talk. Okay, Iggy, I don't want to put him ahead of Avdol. Actually, no, I'm going to put him in good. I'm going to level with you guys. Iggy had the saddest death in part 3. He truly did have the... No, I don't want to say he had the saddest death. Joseph had the saddest death, because when Joseph died, I fucking bawled, dude. I thought he was a goner. Iggy getting trampled and stomped to almost near death by Vanilla Ice made me cringe and hate the fucking character Vanilla Ice so much. Iggy's English dub voice actor was pretty funny too. Compared to his Japanese voice actor, which sounded like a kid, they did a whole 180, and he kind of sounded a little bit like Tony Soprano. Like if Tony Soprano was an anime voice actor, James Gandolfini was an English dub voice actor, I think that this would be him. I think James Gandolfini would be a good Iggy. Especially when he was like, even if I could talk, it's not like you can understand me. What are you, stupid? Oh, that was funny. Iggy, it took a while for me to actually like him because he was a dick to Polnareff. I understand it was for, like, you know, comedy relief, but if you're gonna introduce somebody who's being a dick to, like, the goofball, it's gonna make me not like you. I will say, Iggy made up for all of that when he took the last of his energy, the last of his final breaths, to save Polnareff. It should have been the other way around, but Iggy, during his final moments, saved Polnareff. And I gotta give Iggy respects. Iggy, this toast is for you, buddy. Moving on to part 4, Koichi. Koichi is great. I want to say he's a little bit better than Avdol, but nowhere near Polnareff. Actually, no, I think he's better than Polnareff. Koichi was so likable in Diamond is Unbreakable, and he really shined. He really shined in those episodes with Yukigo. It showed us that, yes, he's still a kid. Yes, he's a freshman in high school. Like all of us, like all of the kids growing up, He had vulnerabilities. He really liked Yukiko, but Yukiko was something else. And it took almost a near-death experience for her to like snap out of it. I really like the episode where they go to the beauty shop and the girl redoes Yukiko's makeup, but at the price that it messes up her appearance. So Koichi had to choose a look for Yukiko, and it looked identical to how she originally looked. And from that point on, they were like as thick as thieves. They were in love. You know, Koichi he's so likable, and his stand evolves as the show goes on. It goes Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. I like Act 3. The SHAT. Like, what's not to like about Koichi? It was cool to see Koichi get his shine in Diamond is Unbreakable. Definitely one of the best JoBros. Okuyasu, I want to say he's good. He's better than Stroheim, but he's good. And he was originally a bully and a dick to Josuke. He's got one of the most OP stands in the show, but he's a fucking idiot. He's a literal dumbass. If Okuyasu fought anybody, Dio, Kira, the Pillarmen, Father Pucci, Diavolo, all on his own, he would die. Just because he's not a thinker. He even said it himself. He doesn't think, he just acts. He ended up, I really enjoyed the episode where him and Josuke go to this small Italian restaurant. Okuyasu's cool, he's the homeboy, but I think Koichi's better. That's just my opinion. Rohan Kashibe. I want to say Rohan Kashibe is Manamana. I dare say he's better than both Zeppelis, but not as good as Speedwagon. And the reason why I say that is because, yeah, he was kind of a villain for like 1 or 2 episodes, despite him not liking Josuke, but having like a mutual respect for Koichi, and having one of the most overpowered stands in the show, in my opinion. Rohan is actually a pretty nice guy. His head may not always be in the right place when it comes to judging characters, but his heart is in the right place. And he has a crucial storyline where Yoshikage's Kira's first victim was actually the babysitter who was babysitting baby Rohan when he was just a little baby, and she gave her life to save his life. It just like stuck with me from that point on. And he's a manga artist, so he basically draws Japanese comic books, and he's only in his early 20s. Rohan is just so likable, and I like him in the English dub because he's voiced by the guy who saved my life many years ago from suicide, Vic Mignogna. I love Rohan by default. Abakio is fucking dog water, and he's the leader of dog water. I don't have to explain much. He never liked Giorno because he didn't trust him. Abakio used to be a police officer. If anybody in that mob were to not trust anybody, it would be fucking Abakio because he used to be a police officer. How are you not gonna like Giorno when the dude literally gave his fucking life for you to figure out who the fucking enemy was? Fucking hate Abakio. If anybody out there likes Abakio, we can't be friends. We can't be JoBros. Nobody in their right mind should like Abakio. And what pisses me off is that they gave this motherfucker the saddest death in part 5. They didn't give Naranjo the saddest death. Fucking Bruno's death was sad, don't get me wrong. But they gave Abakio the saddest fucking death in part 5. I am disappointed with the decisions that were made in part 5. And Abakio is definitely one of them. Narancia is a great JoBro. Just everything about him. He's like Polnareff, but he's got a mean, hot-headed side to him too. Like, especially when Fugo puts a fork like through his cheek because he got a math problem wrong, and he has a knife underneath his chin. Like, that's something I would do. I'll be like, yeah, motherfucker, you want to stab me again? And his stand is literally called Aerosmith. It's one of the most intriguing stands in the series. Not only is it a helicopter that has its own pilot, not only does it shoot like actual bullets that really feel like they're tiny bullets, but they feel like they pack a punch. Not only do they drop like bombs, not only does Aerosmith drop bombs, but he has a sonar radar to detect enemy presence nearby. He's one of the guys who ended up liking Giorno. Who could forget the torture gang dance? You gotta give it to Narancia. Guido fucking Mista is Manamana. I loved everything about Mista in part 5. from his backstory to saving a girl getting assaulted in the backseat of a car by gunning down the culprits, from his stand Sex Pistols. Literally just a better version of Emperor. Every bullet has their own personality and they talk. And they also eat. Like when he's sitting down for lunchtime and they're all eating like pepperonis. It was like, dude, how do you not like Mr. Guido? And especially the part where he gets shot by his own bullets and Giorno's trying to heal him. And Narancia is like, hey guys, what are you guys doing? And then like it looks like Giorno's going down on, on Mista. And he's like, Giorno, not right there, it hurts. Ah! Mista is just so likable. He's so likable. Fugo's a fucking pussy. He abandoned the gang when they decided to go against the boss. He was just like, oh, I can never betray the organization. Oh, I can never betray the boss because, you know, who's gonna pay my rent? He has the most broken, overpowered stand, Purple Haze. Anybody who breathes in the Purple Haze from his stand, there is no cure for that stand. Unless Giorno's nearby, because Giorno can make an antidote right off the bat. He could have easily taken out the boss. He could have sent in his stand to scope out the place or smoke out the place. But no. Fugo had to be like, oh, I'm not going with you because I'm not gonna backstab boss. He was marked for death anyway. Fugo had one okay episode. And they try to build this guy up like, oh, he only brings his stand out when it's really necessary. Like, shut the fuck up, Abakio. Abakio is a piece of shit, and Fugo is just a straight up puss. These two motherfuckers I hated the most. Fugo just fucking refused to help Giorno, Bruno, Bucciarati, and the rest of the gang. Fuck this guy. Bruno Bucciarati is fucking Phenomena. This guy, who was voiced, I believe, by Ray Chase in the English dub, they made him sound so badass, cool, calm, and collected like an actual mobster. I was impressed by the way his performance was. It was almost damn near impossible to top the Japanese dub, but he managed to do so, and I actually enjoyed the English dub slightly more than the Japanese dub when it came to Bruno's voice actor. Giorno could have easily offed this guy in the beginning, but he spared his life. He spared his life because Giorno realized that Bruno was sick to his stomach when he saw the kid had needle marks in his arm. And those needle marks were because that kid who was taking drugs was from the same crime lord that he was taking objectives from. So Bruno made a dedication to turn his back on the same mob that took him in, because he couldn't stand the sight of kids taking drugs. He couldn't stand the sight of underage kids doing drugs from the same organized crime organization that he was serving. And he took Giorno under his wing, despite Abakio not approving. Fuck Abakio. Bruno Bucciarati, this guy and his backstory about his parents, heartbreaking. I thought he was gonna choose to go live with the mom when they split, but he chose instead to stay with the dad. And you know what the fucked up thing about that is? The mom made no effort to go see Bruno or the ex-husband after that. Bruno has been through so much shit growing up. He makes the most heroic sacrifice in part 5. He puts everybody's souls that have been swapped back in their original bodies. And once that is complete, you see his soul go to heaven. But before he does, he gives Giorno one last gift before he goes, which is the stand arrow to turn his stand from Gold Experience to Gold Experience Requiem to defeat Diavolo, the crime boss, the mob boss. That's just, part 5 is just so damn good. Weather Report, he's a good JoBro. I liked him ever since he was introduced. His stand is one of the most busted stands in the show. It's one of the most busted stands in the show because not only can he change the atmosphere of the weather, but that raining frog scene where if poisonous frogs rain from the sky, oh my god. And then the weather was so bad when he got his memory back, people were turning into snails. His stand literally caused cataclysmic, chaotic events. His devotion to Jolene, keep her safe, to watch her back, I gotta give him props. his backstory was so fucked up. Enrico Pucci hired the KKK to come after this guy. They ended up hanging Weather Report. The sad part is, he was in love with this girl, right? When she cut him down, he had a faint heartbeat, but she thought he was already dead. Weather Report was still alive. Here's the fucked up part. She ended up jumping off that cliff into the rocks, committing suicide. And it was all Father Pucci's fault. He was so enraged that he just fucked up the entire environment. Pucci took away his memory to make sure that no cataclysmic event like ever happened. But man, Weather Report, man. Anastasia, no, he's fucking dog water, dude. I didn't like Anastasia. There was no character development for this motherfucker other than, oh, I love Jolene. I will help her, but only if she marries me. That's literally it. There is no character development for this Diavola looking motherfucker, dude. His costume design is fucking garbage. Like, I get why they changed him from female to male, but even then, it's just like, bro, like, I think he's worse than Kakyoin, but I don't think he's worse than these two. But he's still fucking dog water. Emporio is a good JoBro because he helps Jolene, he understands her situation, and he not only like does everything in his power to help everybody escape from that prison, and it blows my fucking mind that this kid right here is the only guy who survives in part 6 and kills Father Pucci with Weather Report stand, dude. It is nerve-wracking to see him and hear him break down towards the end when he's being comforted by like Jolene, but she doesn't remember him. It's so fucking sad and bittersweet. Like, it just tugs on your heartstrings. It's so fucking devastating to me, the amount of shit this kid went through. I mean, part 6 was a clusterfuck of feels, but knowing that Emporio was the only motherfucker that survived the events of part 6, it's bittersweet to say the least. So yeah, this is my tier list for JoBros. Obviously, Speedwagon's number 1, Bucciarati, Rohan Kishibe, Mr. Guido, the Zeppelis, obviously, because, you know, if it wasn't for them. Koichi, you can't go wrong with Koichi. Polnareff, Narancia, Weather Report, Mohammed Abdul, Emporio, Iggy, Okuyasu. I guess you could put Strawheim as meh. But yeah, these dog water placements, absolute fucking dog water. Fuck Abakio. Fuck Fugo. I don't know what this guy's motives is. I'll only help if Jolene marries me. That's it. That's it. And Kakyoin is just like, oh, I like Jotaro's mom, so I'll help. It's like, that's not a good enough reason to help, dude. It really isn't. It may be meme to death, but I don't fucking like, no. That's not enough to win me over. But yeah, this is my tier list of JoBros. What are your guys' favorite JoBros from favorite to least favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, stay awesome. Arrivederci. Please. Peace.